You're never gonna see this on any mainstream news.
This ain't what you want, this is what you need.
Ain't never forget.
Yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees.
I never forget.
Nooses on our neck, whipped us till we bleed.
And they gotta get it.
Hey man, call it Galatians 3:13.
Woo.
You're now tuned in to Precept upon Precept.
Crew so strange. Look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains. So when the wind blow, we just swing. Much oppression, never kill 'em. Breaking
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat as stated in Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Welcome to another edition of Precept upon Precept. Thank you for your patience with our reruns. We've had some technical difficulty. We got some updated equipment, and we're back and we're ready to roll. I want to give a shout out to a sister. Was with a brother and his wife, and she watches the show. She said that our sound is low, and that's a complaint. So we're gonna fix it. So we appreciate it. So we're your hosts. I'm Captain Shem, y'all.
Captain Matt. Officer Micah. Officer Yas.
So with that, all praise to the Most High, like we do every precept upon precept. We start up with Officer Micah and the Watchman report. Take it away.
You are now live.
We the sons of God, we don't back down. I take it to your face, I tell you right now. Step up to the camp, we ain't backing down. Step up to the camp, I tell you right now. We the sons of God, we don't backing down. Take it to your face,
You are now live.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless. Welcome to the show. Lot going on. Let's get into it. All right. Former South Korean president receives life sentence for imposing martial law in 2024. Scroll up just a little bit. See, they actually hold their former presidents accountable. Unlike America. Just read a little bit. Read a little bit. Did they hold Smoking Joe accountable? Hell no. Look at that. They locked him up. Yeah. Keep messing around with who's that old Rocket Man over there? Mess around with him. Next article. Trans teen kills mom and brother, then leaves home and kills 5 students in devastating school shooting. But they say we are the ones that's committing all these crimes, huh? Trump, no nonsense. DC crackdown tops 10K arrest as DOJ declares era of unchecked violence is over. So I thought it was the immigrants that were doing all this violence. So if they deporting Northern Kingdom, who are all these criminals they locking up? Things that make you say, U.S. military pushes more weaponry into the middle. Hold up. They talking about peace, but they pushing more weapons into the Middle East for possible strikes on Iran. Just scroll up just a little bit. And who's doing it? Not a perdition right there. Look at him, the man himself, T.J. Trump. I thought he was talking peace, but he already making provisions for war. Scroll up just a little bit. Oh, see, never mind. They are just a little bit. Just read that first little spot right there. Right there. It says the Defense Department is sending a large array of additional weaponry to the Middle East. Didn't they leave a bunch of stuff in the Middle East already in Iraq when they pulled everybody out of there? But they sending more weapons into the Middle East. Can't make it up. You cannot make this stuff up. Oh, yeah, that was Afghanistan left all the weapons over there. Slavery exhibit removed by Trump administration is returning to Independence Mall in Philadelphia. So they returning the slave statues and stuff like that to remind us that they had us in captivity. This concludes the Watchman Report.
You are now flying.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Yes, welcome to Precept Upon Precept. Tonight's show, it's funny because I came up with this title, I was thinking about it Tuesday, and yesterday the title was given, but today a lot has happened, so it's even more pertinent. So, Iranian independence. Esau stages his chess pieces. So if you look here, you have DJ Trump on the left, okay, with that perfect hair. And notice in spirit, right? He's the white piece. I just noticed that. He's the white piece, and then the dark piece is the Iranians. They're dark and evil. And you have the Iranian flag in the background. You have the tanks and the missiles. And if you look behind Donald Trump's head, you can see a big cargo plane and other planes. And that's what tonight we're going to see. They have a huge staging right now, right in the Middle East. And to the right, behind the supreme leader, okay, they have tanks, and also they have hypersonic missiles. And that is the game changer. So tonight, we're going to get into that and to show you that Esau will never let them have their independence, okay, as long as he's in power. So let's, obviously, you wanted to share something. I know you're not doing the book review tonight. However, there's all this in the news about this one white woman in California that is actually, it's been getting all the news. They're spending millions of dollars looking for a woman that's like 70-something years old. But yet, black children go missing all the time and nobody gives a damn. You wanted to bring, I think you want to bring that out.
I did. I wanted to mention that it seems so odd that the news is making a big issue out of this one missing person. They're spending literally millions of dollars looking for this woman. Of course, we don't want anybody to come to some sort of tragic end. They're telling me I'm not loud enough again. So I kind of Googled and looked up how many missing black children a year. And it's crazy. The 2020 data of 268,884 females reported missing in 2020. 90,333, approximate 30% were black. So if we do that number, it's something like 80,000 black people missing a year. And I don't see anybody making any kind of noise about trying to help these people. It's ridiculous. We have people missing all the time, and nobody makes any difference. This is taxpayer money that they're looking to find her with. So it should be equal for everybody, Cap. It's really disgusting. Not that I want anything bad to happen to the lady. I'm just saying they don't care about us. They don't care about us.
Hey, but guess what? The prophets care.
Right.
That's why
That was-
we got the missing for
Yep.
missing persons. Mission for missing persons. We out there in the streets daily looking for the lost of our people.
And to add to that, we also have helped police departments and other municipalities to actually find and bring back children to their families. Yep. So we do care about black children, Latino children, Native, and we care about the 12 tribes of Israel. We're going to start with our people, you know. Getting back to the show, this has been to the last half an hour, 45 minutes ago that things are happening right now. So we got a lot of content. Let's start first with tonight's content. Let me see what you got there. What do you got for number one, Ak, real quick, as I get to it? Is that the video from Captain Tobias? I don't. Let me see. Yes. No, I'm gonna come back to number 1. Let me see. Let's do. I want to skip number 2. Let's do number 3. So this is an article. Al Jazeera. If y'all ever want a good source, it's an app. Al Jazeera. It's a Middle Eastern, so-called Middle Eastern Arabic point of view. They mainly cover what's happening in Gaza and in the West Bank with the Palestinian Arabs. But this is about Trump suggests Iran has 10 to 15 days to reach an agreement. So if we could, Officer Solomon, I know we have to all do a better job of sounding off and being lively.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the complaint against all of us on this show, which is legitimate.
Trump suggests Iran has 10 to 15 days to reach agreement with U.S. U.S. President says at inaugural Board of Peace Summit that Washington and Tehran should make a meaningful deal.
So when you hear the term Washington, that's talking about the head city of the U.S., and Tehran, Iran is the head city in Iran. So you're going to hear about, if they say London, if they say Tehran, if they say, whatever, Dubai, United Arab, that's the capital city. That's what they lead with. So if you ever hear, you're going to hear Tehran, just know that it's Iraq. You're going to hear that for the next couple weeks. Read on.
Donald Trump has renewed his threats against Iran, suggesting that Tehran has about 10 to 15 days to reach a deal with Washington or face further military strikes.
He's threatening another sovereign nation. Brothers, what did he just do about a month ago? He just went and kidnapped Nicolas Maduro, which is a reigning, freely democratic elected president. Remember we had a thing where Jimmy Carter said he looked at elections of dozens and dozens of countries. He said Venezuela, to him, this is a white man, was the most fair elections that he came across. So the people voted Maduro in. They came in and kidnapped him with Delta Force operators at night, okay, and kidnapped the president of that country.
At the Board of Peace meeting, he's making threats of violence.
Isn't that damn? Isn't that that shows you how much power that this system has? This country here, if any Negro tells you, any black dummy tells you that Babylon the Great is not the U.S., they don't know anything about the news, history, or the Bible. Don't listen to them. You want to say something?
Yes,
Bring it out.
Because they brought out that the so-called peace meeting is about settlement. Again, we know that when they came to the so-called USA, they settled it over here with the Indians. They settled it over here with the so-called African Americans. And what they're trying to do is settle the rest of the world. The vice president just brought out that he doesn't want a rules-based society. He doesn't want any rules. That makes him the man of lawlessness.
Hey, do me a favor since you said that. Tech guys, look up how many peace treaties or how many treaties that the U.S. broke with the Native Americans. It's hundreds, and he didn't keep one of them. So to your point, this is the same man that decimated the Native Americans. This is the same man that brought over millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of our people to the shores of North Central South America, okay, and other places throughout the earth. This is the same man that is promising peace in 2026. How many treaties?
The United States government signed over 370 treaties with Native American nations between 1778 and 1871, and nearly all of them were broken.
I think that's B. I think there was a lot more than 370, and I think they never kept. Here's the thing: even if they kept part of the treaty, if they broke any part of it, they broke every single one of them. So that right there is not accurate. But just to show you, this is the same man that's setting up. The cap said, "Hey, Google, because we didn't get too many. Google the peace accord, Trump's peace deal. They just met on Tuesday. Let's tell the people what really is going on here." And I saw something on one of the articles that it said that they're vowing now to help Gaza. Now, at the peace accords, after they've already killed hundreds of thousands, almost two-thirds of women and children, they've decimated and destroyed more than 95% of all infrastructure, to include churches, hospitals, okay? You name it. And we've covered show after show after show for the past couple of years about that. You got a video? Let's see if we got a video.
Hey, and they covered so much stuff that was going on in Gaza that's why the purchase of TikTok happened. Because they're saying we can't continue to push. Yeah. We got to destroy Gaza. We got to destroy Gaza. When people look online, they see the carnage of Gaza. We got to take control of what they see, so that way when we say something that we want to do over there, the people are backing us. They're with us. But if they continue to see unalived babies, they continue to see carnage, they continue to see decimated cities, they're not going to stand behind us, and that's not going to be good for us.
Right. Remember what they were doing? We did a lot of shows in 2022, 2023, 2024, where on TikTok they showed a father piecing his, I think it was his son, body parts back together. That was when you, and I don't care who you are, you see something like that really, and it got to the point where even Esau in these different countries was going into places that would support Israeli government. And they would, remember that one, the guy would go in, he'd throw blood in the McDonald's and throw certain restaurants, Starbucks, that would go in and they had a bunch of white rats that they painted the colors of the patents and let them run live inside the lobby. Even Esau knows that his people is the damn devil. So this is the board of peace I think this just took place this week. Okay, and your boy Donald Trump is there. Let's see if we see any Arab faces up there.
Last month, during the annual World Economic Forum in Davos, U.S. President Donald Trump touted the inaugural meeting of his newly established Board of Peace.
Many of the world's top business leaders, the best, the biggest, most successful, and foreign heads of state, and now we have one of the most important meetings of all, the official formation of what is known as the Board of Peace.
Membership on the board costs $1 billion for a permanent seat. Approximately 24 countries have signed up. The board is set to implement phase 2 of Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza.
To end decades of suffering, stop generations of hatred and bloodshed, and forge a beautiful, everlasting, and glorious peace for that region and for the whole region of the world.
But key European allies, including France, the United Kingdom,
So
Germany.
pause real quick. So when we look here, let's do a visual. Starting with the white woman with the yellow hair and the all light blue. Let's look from her to the right. Every single one, there's Macron, all of the ones to the right of the woman with the light blue suit, all of those are Esau, okay? To the left, I believe that's an Asian man, and to the far left, he looked like he's brown,
Like East Indian.
the East Indian. He look East Indian?
You look it.
Right. So here's the point, and I don't think he's an Arab. There are thus far, where's the voice of the people that are being killed? Meaning the people that are being killed are Palestinian Arabs, okay? And they don't even have a voice on their own peace board. You know why? They don't got $1 billion because they're living in tents right now. This is amazing. This is give me Job 9:24. If this is what we have to understand that. I hope we're loud enough, y'all. And you give us constructive criticism. Please, we need it. If you think that the Bible is not true, listen, we can't do nothing for you. Job 9:24.
The book of Job.
Why does Esau get away with doing stuff like this? Having a board of peace, predominantly with nations that rule them, that don't have their best interest, but decimated 95% of infrastructure, destroyed their people, got them living in tents, starving them out, and now has a board of peace where you got to pay $1 billion in to talk about maybe helping them. Think about it. Read that.
Job chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Man, the whole earth is Esau's. That's who it's talking about. The earth is given by who? The Most High allowed him to get the earth. Just like during the ancient times, Pharaoh and the Egyptian army was given that earth at that time. Everybody was feared Egypt. God is doing the same thing he did with Egypt. When you read in Romans 9, the 9th chapter, it goes into that. This man here is able to do a peace talk about a country that they've already destroyed. And it's a slap in the face that for order, and think about it, the Arab nation of Palestine, the Palestinians, they don't have $1 billion even close to that to even buy a peace on a board that is going to dictate their future. This is why we understand why. We understand. We're not surprised what's happening to the Palestinian Arabs. We're not surprised that Iran is about to be attacked. We're not surprised at any of these things. God told us the earth would be given to the wicked. Okay? Play on.
Have declined to join the Board of Peace, fearing it undermines the United Nations. There are concerns, too, about Trump leading the board and Russia being a board member.
The status of this board, the immediate goals mainly related to the reconstruction of Gaza, and the systematic nature regarding the shape of this board mean that under these circumstances, Poland will not join the work of the Board of Peace.
Trump says his board...
Now, I could say something about that. I was at war with Polish people. I was that was part of the coalition forces. I was on the posts. My trailer was right next to some Polish people, and we was over there, and they was part of the coalition forces that came and fought in Operation Iraqi Freedom. They was there. For them to say, nah, we're not joining no Board of Peace, it's something going on there. It's something going on because, like they just said, it's undermining the United Nations. That's how those 10 horns are going to start getting agitated at the whore, which is the United States of Babylon, and they're going to start to collectively think of one accord. You know what? We could take them out. We could attack them, and they ain't gonna be able to do nothing about it because they're alone in this world. A lot of them, they only joining with them because the U.S. is holding something over their head. But once they get it in their mind that they're not about to take it no more, they're done.
Right. That's why there's talks in Europe right now of a common collective military force and an economic force that's turning inward. That's why even was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago before the reruns that the European Union, or I forget what, they pulled out U.S. They had investments in U.S. bonds, I believe it was, for certain retirement funds, and they walked away from that. That's a major disconnection. So part of that, all of that is going to go into the hatred that Esau is going to have, the 10 horns are going to have towards Babylon the Great. Because that's why in Isaiah 14, how is that going to happen? How are they actually going to be said? Is this the man? Because eventually everybody is going to say, nope, we know that they're the ones. And that's talking about their own people. Those 10 horns, and Esau came from them 10 horns. It's amazing. But then the beast got bigger, and then they became their 10 horns. Because Esau, all them Europeans, when the Catholic Church was protested by the Protestants, when they first came to this side of the earth, and they're colonizing, were gathered to teach them how to survive. It's a whole other story. But bottom line, I'm rambling on. Bottom line is this: Esau's the devil. Play on.
Board of Peace will develop new ideas for resolving global conflicts and could become an alternative to the United Nations.
Well, it might. I mean, the UN just hasn't been very helpful. I'm a big fan of the UN potential, but it has never lived up to its potential. The UN should have settled every one of the wars that I settled.
President Trump says board members have already pledged.
Hold on. He maybe that went too fast. He said that the UN that he uses, like his personal army, should have settled the wars like he did. That's what he said, right?
Hey, type in 2025, how many wars did the United States, or how many countries did the United States attack? I want to say it's 7. Look that up real quick. And remember, what did he campaign on in 2024? He was going to be the president of peace. Remember he said that? He said, I'm going to stop the war. 24 hours, I'm going to stop the war in Ukraine. I'm going to stop the bombing. He kept talking about that, and he kept talking about America first, bring back infrastructure, roads, highways, jobs, manufacturing. And he fought more. In 1 year, he's done more damage as the president. Read that, officer. Look at it. Look.
In 2025, the United States carried out military strikes against 7 countries.
7 countries in 1 year, man.
Marking a violent start to the second Trump administration. These operations involve airstrikes, counterterrorism, and targeted attacks against various groups and states across the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean.
Read targeted nations.
Targeted nations. Reports indicate strikes, operations, or engagements in Iraq, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, Iran, Nigeria, and Venezuela.
So a couple of things I want to point out. We talked about Venezuela, a couple of shows with Nicolas Maduro actually being kidnapped by Delta Force in the U.S. Army, which was, it brought him to federal court. So they used it. Technically, it's not really. The Army's a federal branch of U.S. military. Look, it says Iraq is a so-called Middle Eastern country. Syria is a so-called Middle Eastern country. Yemen and Iran are also Middle Eastern countries. And the other 2 countries, Somalia and Nigeria, are African countries. And then you have Venezuela being a South American country. If you notice, all of these things is in his first year of office. The first year. He's got what? He's almost got 3 full years to go. So keep that in mind. Go ahead, bring it. Yeah, bring it out.
Yeah. So give me 1 Thessalonians 5, 3, just 3.
The book of
First. So this is leading up. Trump is leading up to fulfilling the scripture with his what do you call his peace? What?
Peace accords.
Peace accords, right? Because they're going to claim they made peace, just like he keeps claiming falsely that he stopped wars, that he never stopped. He makes all these different claims, like he's wanted to get a Nobel Peace Prize. Come on.
The book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety.
They're going to say that. They're going to say, we done put the Iranians down and we got the Palestinian on the Gaza Strip all in check. Go ahead.
Then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child.
They're going to get theirs. That's what that means. They're going to get theirs. But they can claim any claim they want. The Most High already said how this going to end up.
Let me get Psalm chapter 55, verse 20, to add to what Officer Yasa said. Because look at what he says. This is what he's doing. He's saying, yeah, man, we going to do peace. We all about peace. And then they fly their planes over, and then they say, look, Iran, look, Negro. You better, that's what they tell them. Look, you better give up them nukes. We ain't giving ours up, but you better get yours up. That's what they told the public, that hey, we all about peace. But meanwhile, back on the ranch. Read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
Because our people have forgotten that they had like the All-Star game or something. They keep the Negro, they keep them distracted here in America. They forgot all them people carrying their babies throughout Gaza. Now they saying the same people that did it. Now they saying it's peaceful. Yes, you bombed the hell out of them. Now it's peace. We're at peace
some
now.
of our people talk about give him a chance. He's only been in there the first year.
Look at what he signed in the first month.
My thinking is another couple of years and nobody gonna be here behind that.
Hey, look up. That's a good point. Look up, because we did shows and shows on this. Please look up the number of Palestinians killed since the inception of the war. It's been a couple of years. Last time it was very, very high numbers. We haven't checked that in months. What is the current death toll? And by the way, this is what they'll tell us. I think it's, remember, there's a lot of bodies that are in buildings that have never been recovered, and that, you know, they're not going to be recovered. So as of January 71, that's BS. That's it's way more than that.
As of January 2026, more than 71,600 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza Strip since the war began on October 7, 2023. This total includes, according to Wikipedia reports, direct deaths recorded by the Ministry of Health, along with thousands more presumed buried under rubble.
Right, and that part is true. So let's just say, for example, I think it's more like 150. I think it's double that number. Oh, yeah. But when they say 171,300 injuries, that's not talking about a broken finger. No. Those are major life-altering injuries. So now, let's just say it's 250,000 people, 250,000, right? I want you to Google in 2022 the population of Palestine. And I'm going to show you how many people. They've killed a huge percentage of these people. That's fine. So we want Gaza Strip. I'm sorry, Gaza Strip Palestinians. Okay. Yes, okay, 2.17 million. So if we take 250,000, right, and factor that in, that is, so 250,000 of 1 million people is 25%. They've killed over 12, quick mathematics, they've killed over 12.5% of the population. That Esau reports. I think they killed a lot more than that.
Yeah, a couple of the other sources say that, you know, it's on paper or reported like 70 to 80,000, but the death toll is over 100,000, and that's because, like you said, Cap, Esau is only going to report a small number. Yeah, that's not counting the missing people that are underneath all that rubble.
And that's right. All the missing people not declared dead yet because they don't have a body.
Exactly.
So they killed, let's just say on the low end, about 12% of the population. And even if it was 5%, that's incredible. So we might be off about that, but the actual number. But at the level, and they're worried about a small number. It's just amazing. This is why brown people, whether they're Arabs, are not valued. They're not valued. Because can you imagine any Caucasian society where you see them get bombs and you see them living in cities like that? It would be, the whole world would stop everything to help because they're of value. Arabs are brown and they're not of value. That's just the way it is. We got a lot more to get. Let's go to number one.
Hey, Cap,
bring it out.
Not only how many people they kill, but how many they displace. Because the way it looks, there's nobody left in the city. They're all living out in the desert in tents. So most of those people are the walking dead. They zombies because of what they've done to them. They took their land. They won't even let food come in to them. You know, this is atrocity upon atrocity with what they're doing over there.
Right, and in comparison, this is why when you look at so-called Jewish people, right? This is why many Jewish women and men whose parents and grandparents served through the Holocaust, they, not us, they are saying that what the Jewish man is doing today is significantly worse than what happened at the Holocaust before World War II. Significantly worse. So if they're the people of God and they're righteous, why would you allow that? Why would you allow that? That's unjust. And she's showing you that they are Jewish and they have practiced customs of the Talmud, and they have a history dating back to the Roman Empire. They are the Herodians. They are the converts of the Israeli citizens you see today. And now, right now, there are extreme Jewish, I think they're Zionists. Certain sect of Zionists are being arrested by the Israeli police because a lot of them are upset with the way that their own government is leading them. So you got a lot of Orthodox Jews. That's Orthodox Jews who are Jewish citizens, Israeli citizens who are Jewish, are irate and disagree with their own government is doing. So this you gotta understand. So now, this goes into the changing of warfare when it comes to nuclear engineering. So check this out. Esau is now bringing nuclear technology with him that's going to be able to be airlifted into a forward post. Check this out. Play.
A not so subtle flex, the U.S. Air Force just flew in 317 Globemasters and they airlifted a Ward 250 micronuclear reactor with 8 modules total. It was unfueled for zero radiation risk. Why 3 planes though? Weight distribution, redundancy, and proving scalability with rapid deployments for future global ops of these nuclear reactors. The modules rolled up and down the rear ramped. The nuclear reactor from Valar Atomics has enough energy to power 5,000 homes or a forward base independently.
Pause. Why is that important? Why would I need a mini nuclear reactor? Well, if I'm setting up a forward base that's going to be there for a decade or two, you can power a base and more. They're bringing nuclear reactors that are portable. This is the first time in history it's ever been done. Esau, if you don't understand that he is Babylon the Great, he is the great, she is the great whore. They are the whore that sits upon many waters, and they're able to do that, being completely on the other side of the earth and being ready to be powered like nobody's business. I hope y'all understand that. When I saw this, I said, this can't be real. It is real. It is real. Play on.
No grid, no vulnerable fuel lines. Testing is going to take place in Utah now, and this thing should be online by July 4th, the 250th birthday of the United States. This changes military resilience in contested fights. Portable nuclear power has arrived.
Y'all got to understand, this man has power like you wouldn't believe. This is why black people, the 12 tribes of Israel, we, no matter what we do with armaments, these small little weapons you have, it's not a physical fight, brothers. We can never, how you going to beat a man that has sonic weapons like the Marvel character that opens a wall and a sound wave comes out and decimates people? How you going to fight a man with lasers? How you going to fight a man that has a nuclear reactor that he can drop and set up a whole base and run a whole airport and everything anywhere he wants to? You can beat him? Get on real quick before I lose the thought. Give me 2 Corinthians. The weapons of our warfare. It might be 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 11, I think it's 3. Start at verse 3. Yes. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Let me hear 2.
Okay.
Yes.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 2.
You brothers and you sisters at home, this is not our fight, it's God's fight. All we are is unworthy servants in the land of our captivities that are serving our sentence out. We got to Zephaniah 2:1 it. We got to work together. We got to keep the commandments, and all of our shortcomings and all of our character flaws and all the things we battle, we got to overcome. It's a fixed fight. You could never beat this man carnally. Read.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 2.
Come on.
But I beseech you that I may not be bold, But I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence.
Jump to 3, just up to 3.
Verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh.
So we walk in the flesh, meaning we walk in this world. We walk in a place where sin, sex sells. You're popular when you can fight somebody. You're better at sports. Your car looks better. Your girl looks better. You got the most women. You did this. You did that. This world is full, and it breeds sin, and it rewards sin. Read on.
We do not war after the flesh.
We're not going to fight in this flesh, brothers. Read on. We have to fight the flesh, but we can't fight with Esau and his power. Read on.
For the weapons of our warfare.
Now, so we do have weapons, but they're not weapons like that nuclear reactor, like a sound wave weaponry, like the new, they got new, something that's going to replace the M4. It's a more sophisticated weapon that's coming right now. It's lightweight, more powerful, bigger rounds. All that's coming, okay? They've got partial suits that are coming down the line. They're going to make you jump higher, run faster. They're like an exoskeleton suit, a super soldier. You can't beat this man. Read on.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
But they're what?
But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
We're going to pull down strongholds by keeping the commandments. That's why Paul says in Ephesians 6, we have to put on the whole armor of God. How do you fight against sin? With the laws of God as your weaponry, your defense, your shield, your helmet, all of that. Understand that. When you see stuff like this, don't worry about it. Read on.
Casting down imaginations.
Yes.
And every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God.
And that's what Esau does. He exalts himself against the knowledge of God. Why? Because he says in all the things that he does, he says he does it in the name of Jesus. The peace accords. They probably prayed before the doggone thing. Okay, so understand it. This is not a carnal fight. So don't get bugged out when you see that stuff. Get me number 2, then we'll go to Godly Discourse. Number 2. It's a quick video with Scott Ritter on the Piaz show. Listen to this. What Scott Ritter is a former, he's a chief weapons inspector for the United Nations. He also was a U.S. Marine Corps officer, combat veteran, and he's also an advocate for true peace. He wants no wars. And he's speaking from a position of experience when he speaks about a nuclear war with Iran. Watch what he says.
Tehran could be nuked. I hope it's not, but it could be nuked. And Iran will not collapse. And Iran's been preparing for this eventuality since 2005 when Dick Cheney first said, I want to take Iran out. The Iranians went, okay, how do we prepare for an American incursion? People need to understand, Iran's been preparing for more than 20 years. Iran didn't just wake up yesterday and go, oh my God, Israel and the United States might attack us in a joint effort. What do we do? Iran's been planning for this. They have underground cities. They have redundant communications. You can take Tehran could be nuked. I hope it's not, but it could be nuked. And Iran will not collapse. They will continue to function. They've built this, I forget how many, 12 or 14 military districts that are distinct.
There's something that I don't know if y'all will be able to receive or not, but our bishops are preparing this. In this truth, you have headquarters, right? And all the classes go out from headquarters. And we log in and we follow the lead. But our leaders are preparing us for a time when you might not have a national class you can log on to. You might have to, in your sanctuary, you have to be able to conduct business, the governance of fair judgment, right judgment according to the laws of God, okay, and maintain the standard of what our bishops set out, even if we were, for a temporary time, not connected, meaning we don't have the luxury of YouTube, a live stream. We may not have these things. So this is what he's saying is, if you bomb the head capital, Iran is prepared for 2 decades. We can still function and carry out the mission of Iran at large. That's what our leadership is preparing us for. There's going to come a time when, I'm telling you right now, what they did with Marcus Garvey in the 1910s, I think, and 20s, where if they knew that you were a Garveyite, if you will, they took your job. And so now a lot of us, our names are Israel. And if you think that they're not going to make your life hard, you better be prepared. This is why we're supposed to gather together. This is why I tell brothers all the time, I scream to the top of my lungs, get a car, get a paid-for car. Learn to work on it. Work with brothers to help you fix each other's cars. Get a community garden going. Grow food. Learn to self-sustain. What are crops that going to help you? Potatoes, sweet potatoes, things that you could grow easily. Crops that you can store. Bishops have been preparing us for years about storehouses. Get your stuff ready. Rice and beans, pack it, vacuum seal. All these things he's been preparing. We better start learning that there's going to come a time where we're going to have to rely on each other. That's why Acts 2 and Acts 4 is so powerful. Because during that time, they were under Roman persecution. And they worked together. Okay, we don't got time to get it. But look, we're going to go to our brother, Captain Matt, with after the break, or before the break. We're going to go right to Godly Discourse with Captain Matt. Go to our break. come back for the second part of the show, and we are going to do a law back attack later on. So y'all stick around. Shalom, y'all.
This just ain't no conversation. My thoughts, what I'm contemplating. Discourse for your education. God talk for edification. This is godly discourse. Godly discourse. I hear go, godly discourse. Discourse. Godly discourse. Godly discourse. Discourse. Yeah. Go, heaven, godly discourse.
It's check. Hey, shalom, Most High in Christ, bless Israel. Welcome to another edition of Godly Discourse. And today, I just got to bring out something because, it is Black History Month. But they got some folks that think that black people don't really do nothing, that we ain't never did nothing, that they try to mock our history. They try to act like we don't do nothing. They try to act like we're not smart. They try to act like we didn't invent some of the greatest things and invent some of the greatest improvements that this world has ever known. Play that video first. And while this video is about to get played, I want you to listen to the things that they think black folk have invented. Now, we could bring up all types of examples, and a lot of people will say, well, that's not all of them. Well, that's not everybody. Well, how come we keep finding these types of examples then? If it ain't all of them, how come we can randomly find examples like this when they talk crap about us? Play on.
Black invention.
I can actually name 3. Twerking, KFC, and being really loud.
Peanut butter. Peanut butter? Yeah. Can you do like any better? Like something that was useful to society? No. Why is that?
Because that's the only thing I know that was invented by black people, peanut butter. That's it.
Why do you think there's like literally almost nothing else?
I don't know.
Does it have to do with them being black?
Huh?
Does it have to do with them being black? That they're not able to invent as much stuff?
Possibly.
Possibly?
Yeah.
Like,
stop. So this is the crap that they talk about us. This is why we have to take back control of our image. That first one said, what did black people invent? Twerking, KFC, and being really loud. This is what they think about us. Go to Lamentations chapter 2, verse 15. I'm going to show y'all what our sins have done to us in the public eye. Lamentations chapter 2, 15.
The book of Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee.
They clap their hands. They be like, look at you. Read on.
They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem.
When somebody shake their head at you, that's what they do to us. When they see us, when they see our women twerking on doggone cars, when they see us fighting on social media, they got whole TV shows related to our dysfunction. Whole TV shows, First 48, homicide shows, reality TV, all that stuff is made to extort the dysfunction of black people. Read on.
They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty? The joy of the whole earth?
That's what they ask. Y'all the Israelites? Y'all the chosen people? Can't be. Look how y'all act. Read on.
All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we look for. We have found. We have seen it.
They waited for the day for us to mess up. Just like they wait for the day that we say, yeah, we the Israelites. You know what they say? Well, y'all killed Christ. Well, y'all disobeyed God, so God cast y'all away. He's no longer looking at y'all. No. God said he gonna forgive us. He gonna heal us. Yeah, we messed up. Yeah, we disobeyed. But there's a remnant that's gonna come back to the laws of God. There's a remnant that's going to come back and they're going to obey God. They're going to hear the words of God. They're going to change their lives and they're going to take over this world when Christ come back. Deuteronomy 28:37. And get that list of inventions that black people made ready. Because black people made a whole lot of inventions. And the inventions that were already made, we made them better once we got our hands on them. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
That's why we're called Abd in certain Arab circles. That's why we're called Goyim among Amalek. That's why we called African American. And a man who made the word African American just passed away a few days ago. So what we going to be now? What was we before we was African American? Afro-American? And well, before that, we was colored. And before that, we were slaves. And before that, we wasn't nothing but product that they got from Africa. We are astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations. But I'm here to tell you something. We may be that under the curses, but go to Baruch 3:36. Let's see what God put in our spirit off the bat. That's why our children are smarter than their children. That's why our brothers are smarter than them. Our sisters are smarter than them. Why y'all think we do better in business? And yes, it's systematic oppression that keeps us from keep on going into businesses. We'll gain a business, but then they won't resupply us with the manufacturers. So then we run out of business because we don't have a product no more. They change the laws so that way we get taxed out of our businesses. They destroy our business. They'll drop bombs on your businesses. We are the most successful and most intelligent people that God has ever created. And we coming back to that. Baruch 3:36.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 36. He hath found out all the way of knowledge and have given it unto Jacob.
He found all the way of knowledge and he gave it to us. Now why some of y'all be knowing stuff and didn't even study for it. Like, damn, it just makes sense to me. Other people, they can't even fathom the wisdom that we have. We have collegiate classes that come out every single week. Some of the stuff that our leadership come, it is PhD level, master degree level, higher than master degree, higher than PhD. I don't even know what's higher than that. Genius level classes, and they trying to understand how is it that they now understand all of this stuff? How is it that they're starting to find all of this information? How is it that they've learned how to research? How is it that they've learned how to read and reason? How? Because we got all the way of knowledge. Finish that out.
He hath found out all the way of knowledge and hath given it unto Jacob, his servant, and to Israel, his beloved.
Brothers and sisters, we are the smartest, most intelligent geniuses on the face of the planet. Act like it. Geniuses don't twerk. Geniuses don't argue and fuss on social media. Geniuses don't make their men or their women look bad because they have an argument. Go to that list of inventions real quick.
Top 10 black inventors you didn't know about.
Scroll down. Read that one.
Benjamin Banneker.
A black man.
The almanac.
He created the almanac. Knowing how to read the stars, knowing how to do math so that he could survey the lands. Next one.
Patricia Bath, laser surgical device.
Another black woman created the laser surgical device. Next.
Charles Drew.
A black man did what?
Blood bank.
He started the first blood bank, and all of the modern blood banks are coined after what he made. Go ahead.
Thomas Elkins. Modern toilet.
He created the toilet, so guess what? Every time you take a poop, yeah, it's because a black man allowed you to do that. A black man made that happen. Go ahead.
Philip Emeagwali, world's fastest computer.
And they got another young Nigerian man that created a Tesla car. Today, in modern times, he created a Tesla car. He knew how to get that same technology over there with less resources. Read on.
Frederick Jones, refrigeration machine.
This man is the reason why you got a refrigerator in your house. This man is the reason why reefer refrigerators or refrigerated trucks are able to go from one part of the country to the next, keeping food cold. You ever been to the supermarket? You know that cold space that keeps all of your fruit and all of that stuff, your vegetables nice and cool? A black man made that. Read. Next one.
Alexander Miles. No, excuse me. Lewis Latimer, light bulb.
He created the light bulb, really the filament that went in the light bulb. Go ahead.
Alexander Miles, improved elevator.
He improved the elevator. Go ahead.
Garrett Morgan.
Garrett Morgan. Go ahead.
Traffic light and gas mask.
Garrett Morgan was the reason why World War veterans or World War soldiers had gas masks. They called it the Garrett helmet. And it was a black man that made it to where you can breathe in poisonous air. Black people did that. And I got a whole lot more to go, but you know what? That's my godly discourse. We the smartest people on the face of the planet. Stop playing with us.
This just ain't no conversation. My thoughts, what I'm contemplating. Discourse for your education. God talk for edification. This is godly discourse. Godly discourse.
Hey, Shalom Israel. No sign Christ bless. Why do you subscribe? IUIC New Orleans, subscribe. Go to our YouTube page. Help us to grow. Comment, like, share. What's going on? Make it happen.
Everybody better turn up. See that man, I'm gonna put my cellular. Tell them I just hold on. So bright you can hide up. So bright you like that, just kind of like go.
And since you're all here and engaged in this sort of inquiry and listening to this sort of lecture, I assume that you're all on the process.
The seed of Israel be justified.
Or else you're teasing yourself with some kind of flirtation with waking up, which you're not serious about. But I assume that maybe you are not serious but sincere, that you are ready to wake up. So then, when you're in the way of waking up and finding out who you really are, what you do, the real you, is not a puppet.
The reason why people do the things that they do is because they don't fear God. Look what they did to our people. That's why when anybody comes up with any lies, we destroy them.
So I came all the way from, when I see you guys having opinions, I came from Ohio to Arizona. My mother lives in Louisiana. So I came all the way out here. Just lo and behold, I find you guys in my corner. So I'm gonna, start the school and do everything I need to do. Like I said, we need you guys.
Long time President, Captain Emmanuel, everyone got with me? Officer Zachariah. We are in Des Moines, Iowa, at the I'll Make Me a World African American event, all right? All praise to the Most High that allowed us to get a booth, and at this booth, you already know we getting in, showing our people their history, their heritage, the lies that was taught to them, we expose them, and we bring them back to their true identity as the 12 tribes of Israel, because that's God's world. God already made this world. You just gotta come back to it, all right? So I pray to the Most High. People waking up, the word going out. So stay tuned. Most High Christ bless. Subscribe to IUIC.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Second part of the show, Israel. Hey, let us know in the comments if we're loud. It seems like we're louder and the audio is clearer. If you can just go in the comments and just type yes or no, we would appreciate it. It's a late show. We know it's late on the East Coast. All right, so look, thumbnail, put it back up right quick. All right, thumbnail, Iranian independence. Esau stages his chess pieces, and that's exactly what you see going. Matter of fact, right now, if you check your news sources right now, I bet you there's been an update within this show since what's been going on. So what I want you to do is get me number. Did we get to number 1 yet? I don't think we did. We did. We did 2, 3. I want you to show number 5. Number 5 is shout out to Captain Tobias. This is something that was done today. This is an actual short video, like 20 seconds, of a naval military buildup. And this is only part of it, okay? That's right now taking place in the Middle Eastern area. Check this out. Understand that is a warship with a fleet and an Air Force show of strength in that area. Let's go to, you know what? I don't want to. Let's go to number 8. 8 is an article with Al Jazeera, and guess what? And Mikhail actually posted something. Officer Mikhail posted something I want to get next. It's about, I think Russia or China is supporting Tehran. Get that one next. It wasn't in the lineup. Number 8, Officer Solomon.
U.S. renews threat of military actions as Russia announced naval drills.
So Russia, Vladimir Putin, is actually allied with Iran. How do we know this? Well, the word BRICS. Yep. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and Iran is one of now the new partner countries. It's an official member. So they're tied to the BRICS, which is an economic powerhouse, and which foregoes the SWIFT system and makes it so they can exchange currency with one another and not have to go through the U.S. dollar. Now they're also training militarily, joint military training. Here we're going to get into it. Read.
The United States has issued new threats against Tehran after a second round of nuclear talks as Iran and Russia announced joint naval drills in the Sea of Oman.
Stop. Map guys, pull up the map. Okay. Where is the Sea of Oman? A lot of you said, what the hell is that? The Sea of Oman, let's show you right now where Iran and Russia are announced that they're going to have interesting. I think you got to scroll up. That is not the Sea of Oman. I want the words. So the Arabian Sea is outside it, but the sea, maybe that's the same one. I don't know. I think the Sea of Oman is actually, remember I asked you to get multiple maps of the sea, of each one.
It's on the Horn.
Okay, I think it's the Gulf of, same thing. So if you look, okay. Actually, pause this. You're good. I want the Strait of Hormuz. There it is. Perfect. This is perfect. The Gulf of Oman and the Sea of Oman are in the same general area. So Russia is going to send naval fleets to the Gulf of Oman, which is the Sea of Oman, that area. And Iran has the direct guardianship of the Strait of Hormuz. Do me a favor, look up what percentage of the oil, of the world's oil passes through the Gulf of Hormuz. Look that up. I think it's 20%. It's an astounding amount. Look at that. Russia, and for everybody geographically, Russia is going to do joint military exercises with Iran in that area. You got to understand it. Read, Solomon.
Approximately 20% of total global petroleum liquids consumption, or about 20 million barrels per day.
Real quick, somebody multiply 20 million times 365. This is the number of probably billions of barrels of oil that passes through there annually. What is 20 million times 365? 730 billion? Somebody get me the numbers. It might be 730 billion. Think about that. Because you got to figure. Oh, 730 million. Okay. Anyways, it's an astronomical number of barrels that pass through there annually. And Iran is talking about shutting down the Gulf of Hormuz. That threat, the control of them doing that, is why the U.S. is going over there. They're not going over there because they believe in setting the Iranian people free. It's a power move. It's a flex.
7,300,000,000.
7,300,000,000 barrels of oil annually pass through that strait, and Iran controls that strait. I want you to really put your mind around why the U.S. is going over there, because they are trying to control that. When we showed you the portable nuclear reactor that they could use to set up to power cities and bases, that's because they want long-term control of that strait. That's why they're after that. That's the flowway. Give me the map of the Persian Gulf, please.
Yeah, they said that thing could power 5,000 homes or a fob. That's crazy.
They need that.
Wow.
Because this is what Iran is really banking on, is for them to get in a protracted, get in a protracted conflict where they have to come onto the land, right? And so then they could wear the United States down. The only way that they could take Iran out is nukes. Look at what happened with Russia trying to cross to Ukraine. The Russians have lost, I believe, over 1 million people, and they even taken a quarter of the Ukraine from the Ukrainians. So it would be the same thing with the Americans without the nuclear bombs. And if they shoot a nuclear bomb on them, then they're going to retaliate with the same thing, and they would retaliate probably most likely against the nation of Israel. And the video Cap was showing earlier, the man showing the video, what they're doing is bragging. They're bragging about the greatness and the power of the United States. They've got nuclear reaction, and the display of the military ships and all of that, that's them being arrogant and showing how powerful they are. And it comes to mind that scripture in Proverbs 16.
Bring it out.
4. Start at 4 through 6, I think it is.
Hey, and while Officer Yas is getting that scripture, the next one, I want you to pull up the one with the supreme leader. I believe it's number, get this ready, just since Officer Yasser brought that up. Number 7. Get number 7 to TikTok video after Yasser brings this scripture.
Go ahead, 4.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 4. The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil.
So they're not going to do what they think they're going to do. The Lord Most High God and Jesus Christ created them for this event. Go ahead.
Everyone that is proud in heart.
I don't know anybody prouder than the people in this country. In fact, some of the what they call them, Christian nationalists, say the reason they voted for Donald Trump is so that we'll see the things like we see in Minnesota and going over capturing Maduro. We're showing our power again. Go ahead.
Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord.
The Most High see them as an abomination, not a great people. He don't see them like that. They do evil all across the world. They poison the little kids in Africa. They think that's cool. Come on.
Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished.
They're not going to go unpunished. They're going to get away with some stuff, but the Most High got something for them. Come on.
By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged. And by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil.
He's going to break them down. They're going to be underneath us in the kingdom. Come on.
Hey, beautiful. Now, to your point, the pride that they have. Now, there's something that the supreme leader says, and it's going to translate, so we're going to have to We'll have to pause it and Solomon to read the white lettering right below his, right in his lower beard area. There's something that Russia showed us with the Orishnik, which is the hypersonic missile that was non-nuclear heads, but conventional warheads that were able to precisely destroy, and there's no weapon defense system that can stop a hypersonic. He's going to mention indirectly about how he can touch the U.S. Navy because Iran has hypersonic missiles. Y'all remember we did shows where Iran shot the old stuff they had and breached the Iron Dome. Yep. No problem. And the Israelis were petitioning to the U.S. to end the war because they were getting bombarded. Solomon brought it out. We had a whole map of all the places of the Israeli country that got hit. Military bases, space research centers. They touched them with their low-level stuff. And here's the thing. God making all this happen right now. We live in, this is, if you don't think this is the closest we've ever been. Iran has nuclear weapons, and they have allies, i.e. Russia, that's going to do a Gulf naval exercise. We're going to go back to the article in a second. And Iran, and China and Russia, they have a whole lot of nuclear weapons. So keep that in mind. Watch what he says.
Iran's supreme leader threatens to sink U.S. warships. The U.S. president keeps saying our military is the strongest military in the world. The world's most powerful military can sometimes receive such a slap that it can no longer stay on its feet.
Hey, I pointed out this before. You know, one thing that Esau has, that the Arabs and the Iranians have, which are the Carmanians, is they do not change their culture. These people are sitting on the floor. If that is not reverence, I don't know what is. If I'm not mistaken, aren't all of them sitting on the floor? I could be wrong. Yep. He's the only one that's sitting in a chair. That is a level of unity. Those people are unified. And furthermore, are not the women sitting on the right in black? Is that the women on the right? I might be wrong. Yep. So, and look, so there is a separate order and respect, and they're all sitting, I don't know what is that word, the preschool call it crisscross applesauce, where they're sitting with their hands in their lap. That's a level of humility, and that's their culture, okay? And guess what? They're all standing. And these folks that the U.S. thinks are a bunch of ignorant people over there that are savages, they have great technology, right? And they have the power to sink ships, okay? Keep that in mind, okay? Play on.
They keep saying we have sent warships toward Iran. Okay. Of course, a warship is a dangerous device, but more dangerous than that is a weapon that can send that warship deep under the sea.
And in the end, all of the people start rejoicing. The point is, what would make a aircraft carrier? What would make a destroyer? What would make a support naval ship? I forget the name. Does anybody know the other names of them? Destroyers, aircraft carriers, a couple other names. Cruisers? I think cruise, yes. These are major ships that one hypersonic missile will destroy. Because remember, they have multiple warheads. So what he's saying is that if you come with your stuff, we're ready for it. And the other guy said earlier, Ritter said that when I think it was Dick Cheney in 2005 was pushing to the U.S. government to go to war with Iran. They knew in the last 20 years, they've been preparing bunkers, underground cities, separate standalone areas of the country that could, even if one Tehran goes down, they can still carry out the mission in these smaller sections. They've been preparing. They're not worried about it. Just keep this in mind. This is, give me 2nd or just 15. I want to share some with you. So What is going to make the Carmanians rage with wrath? Let's think about it. Let's really analyze this, right? You're a country that lives halfway across the earth. They've never attacked America. They actually held hostage the Iran crisis. They had in the 70s or 80s, Iran-Contra, something like that. They hijacked. Yeah, obviously, I said you remember that time.
Oh yeah.
They hijacked. It was all over the news. Other than that, they have not attacked the United States. They have not threatened the United States' safety. So a country that there's millions and millions of people, huge economy, part of BRICS, one of the main distributors of energy throughout the whole world. People rely on Iran's energy, right? And you're going to threaten that. And you're going to, tens of millions of people you're going to threaten with an attack on their country. Read that, 2 Esdras 15.
The book of 2 Esdras, chapter 15 and verse 28.
This here.
Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east.
From the east. Read on.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots.
Right. Now, do me a favor. Let's skip on to verse 30. Now, remember, the nations of the dragons of Arabia are the Arabs from where? Yemen, Oman, Saudi Arabia. You got Syria. You got Jordan. You got Iraq. These Arabs, Arabs from Egypt, all these Arabs that are in this concentrated area, they are going to, in order for them to come together, right, it says, shall come out with many chariots. They're coming out together. It's not one, it's the dragons of Arabia. They're going to be unified in one mind. Watch this, read on.
2 Esdras 15 and verse 30. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath.
So that proves that the nations of the dragons of Arabia, they were raging in wrath. They're already raging in wrath, but they have no power because they see over 100,000 of their Palestinian Arab brothers being destroyed. You don't think that bothers the rest of the Arab community? Go ask an Arab that's not a billionaire. The average Arab is livid, but he has no power. So they're already angry. Read on.
Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath.
The Carmanians are the modern day Iranians. The Bishop Nathaniel has been teaching this for 23 or more years. So just go back and watch some classes. Okay, read.
Shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood.
Wild boars of the wood. A domesticated pig. I saw something on TV the other day. Actually, not TV. I haven't watched TV. It's YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. If you take a regular domesticated pig and you leave him in the wild, he will turn into a wild boar. Go look it up. Go fact check me. A wild boar, they breed. They're fierce. They fight to the last death, a wild boar. The Carmanians are not like that right now. The Iranians, they're not like that. What's going to make them turn into raging in wrath as wild boars? The U.S. is going to attack them in a way that they've never been attacked. And we're on the brink of it tonight. But McGregor says something in a minute. We're going to get to Colonel McGregor towards the end. He says something about Donald Trump that he predicts, and I believe it. Read on.
And the great power shall they come.
So when they come with great power, don't you think that power is going to have to come just from them? You think that's? No. Remember, we're going to go back to the article. Russia. Now, Cap, you were showing me something. Bring it out. Cap brought something up about the power that Russia truly possesses.
Russia has hundreds of more nuclear warheads than the United States. They have the most nuclear warheads in the world.
Damn.
In the world. So they are more than prepared. So that's why Putin is like, all right, if you want to make this a nuclear war or a nuclear race, okay, we can make it a nuclear race. And by them backing up Iran, that's why Iran is confident, because they have the backing as well. Oh, Israel, you got backing by the United States? Okay, we got backing by Russia.
Think about that. Think about Russia has more nuclear warheads. And now let's go back to the article about the joint, because we didn't get to the article. We just read the title. Let's read about, remember, Tehran and Moscow. They always refer to the capital. They are in alliance, not just with BRICS and the intermonetary international transfer system that BRICS is creating, but also militarily. Read.
The United States has issued new threats against Tehran after a second round of nuclear talks, as Iran and Russia announced joint naval drills in the Sea of Oman to deter any unilateral action in the region.
Now, mind you, right now, as of tonight, there and the other guy mentioned, I forget what he said, within 96 hours, they should have the staging of the battle fleets in the area, okay? Obviously, the naval fleets takes a lot longer to get there than your air support. But just really think about that. You have the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, and probably the Marine Corps as well, all involved. Think about the, Officer Mike, you're a military guy, right? Think about the logistics and the coordination. This was not planned last night. Please set us on stage as a former staff NCO.
Cap. So I'm gonna dial back just a little bit. He started out with the peace. He said, okay, we're gonna do peace. In order for the first battleship destroyer to actually leave U.S. waters, orders had to come down. They had to come down for him to say, because he's saying peace, right? They had already signed the orders. He already put everybody in motion because you have to allot for resources, equipment, what else? Fuel. You have to allot for all these things. You got your S1 shops, your S2, your S3. You already know who's going. You already know, start putting your stuff in storage, you're going to war. But I thought we were talking about people. Nope. The orders, I guarantee they already had their orders. They already came down. They already knew which battalion was going, which fleet was deploying, which what they call squadron was being shipped out. All this was done. It wasn't. They have this calendar called like T minus. This stuff was planned probably 180 days ago. They already knew who they were sending into battle.
You cannot send fleets of naval brigade, whatever they call them, ships out to an area that's, look off, and it's not like they're going up to Cape Cod or they're going up the coast of Cuba. They're sending their fleets across the doggone halfway across the earth. This is a major operation that has been planned militarily by top 4-star, 3-star generals, and they have to the president asked for counsel from the chief councilman, and then they said, "Look, sir, we got to do this." And then he makes the decision. There's no way you have this much buildup in the last 48 hours, 96 hours, 4 days, and not have this planned for, like Officer Mike, probably 180 days, right, Cap?
Hey, and that shows you that, for one, it didn't matter about the talks. The talks didn't matter. They had already sent the troops there. They was on the water.
There you go.
Headed over there
right
before the talks even started. So when he said, "Oh yeah, they got 15 days to come up with a response," that means there's 15 days left for my people to get it over there to your area.
Cap, they already there. They ship out in parties. You have Torch Party, you have Advon, you got Main Body 1, Main Body. The Torch Party already over there. They already in country because they done already looked at their non-mission capable report. They looked at their readiness charts. They've looked, all this stuff looked at probably 2-3 years ago. They already knew they're going in. The team is the torch is already there. That's the people that went in and dropped them the nuclear stuff. That was probably your Advon. Your torch people were the ones that tell them where to drop it at. They've been there already. They already know. They already got the maps laid out. They know where the destroyers are going, and they know who's going where. They already there.
Yep. That's the same thing they did in
before I forget, you're right. It is the same thing they did because they were stationed up the coast of Cuba. They had all the Marines in Cuba. Do me a favor. I want you to type in, what are the U.S. military bases in the Gulf of Mexico? Because here's the thing. They've got bases in Qatar, Bahrain, I believe Kuwait still. Pull up, and here's the thing. They already have posts that have already been planning this for years. Yeah. When we go to war in any of these countries, right? Because they already subdued Kuwait. Iraq is not a threat. Iran is the last. Let's see it. Okay. Can we get a map, maybe, or no?
Hey, and Cap, when we were over there in Suriname, we had got notice that the military was coming to train up the Surinamese military. the U.S. military was coming to train up the Surinamese military.
Wow.
1 year later, they invade Venezuela.
I'm gonna tell you, and that's the next. Like Trump said, this Don Rowe doctrine we covered in a former show. He understands that Russia and China are formidable players, and they have their share of that side of the world. He wants to control the entire Americas. That's why he talked about the Golden Dome of Canada. You're gonna get it for free if you join me. All these things with Mexico and the whole cartel, war with the cartel, Greenland, which is all part of that, the Americas, all the way down to Venezuela, and like Cap said, Suriname. And the next biggest thing they got to take Brazil. And if you watch Brazil, there's been a lot of accidents, major bus accidents. It's an unsafe country, uprising. They do all these little things so they can say that Brazil is unstable before they launch their assault there. And they want to control the entire Western Hemisphere to include Greenland, Canada, the rest of all North Mexico, all of Central and all of South America. That is what he's pushing all that right now.
Hey, Cap.
Yes.
One of the worst things a country could hear is they bringing democracy there. When they come with that democracy, they about to wipe you out. They're not coming trying to help you. They coming to invade you and take everything you got.
Hey, this is how you know democracy coming. Because they're going to come with Christmas.
Yep.
And they're going to come
strippers
with women's rights.
Yep.
Those are the two things. Those two democratic things, homosexuality and violence, is sure to follow.
That just goes to show you that in Revelation it says, and of every hateful bird, a cage of every hateful bird. That's a hateful spirit. When you try to bring a custom that has nothing to do with the people, they have their own customs. You try to bring a way of life. They believe in the Arab culture. They believe in marriage of a man and woman. You trying to push something else on them. Why are we looking at bases of Florida?
He said Gulf of Mexico. He meant the Arabian Gulf.
Well, yeah. Persian Gulf. Come on, Persian Gulf. Did I say Gulf of Mexico?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I meant the Persian Gulf.
That's the Gulf of America.
Yes, it's the Gulf of America, by the way.
America.
Oh my gosh,
the greatest Gulf in the world.
Gulf.
That's why I was laughing earlier, Cap, when you played the first video.
Yeah.
He was like, "We have a group of men here, group of countries, fabulous, great, fantastic, the best in the world. Everything is like the best. Everything is like the most excellent, the best. I got a plan. It's the best plan ever. We have a military. It's the best military ever. I have a gift. It's the best gift ever. I pooped in my pants just now. It was the best poop ever. Like, you know, the greatest smell.
Hey, when this guy talks,
I'm gonna tell you what, they ain't got the greatest smell because you ever seen anybody behind him when he let go?
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Damn. Trump. Wow. So let's look at. So here's the Persian Gulf. Look at all of the bases in Kuwait. Look at Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. You even have one on Sinai Peninsula over there in Egypt. You also have an Oman. I did not know we had one in Oman.
Yep, that base has been there for years.
Okay.
They tried to send me over there. Ride the ships to Oman. I said, do I get my what? No, you just ride over there. Like, we've been over there. I'm like, well, huh? I found out this in 2008 that they had a base over there. And it was before. You were there? See, it's been there.
So they've been there for 23 years. We have brothers in the room that have been there. Understand this. If you look at all the bases, if you look at say Kuwait is 12 o'clock, right? 12 o'clock. All of your clock from your 12 to your 3 is all Iran. But on that western front, look at that western wall of bases they have. They can launch right over the Persian Gulf and directly attack them from land. Not to mention all of the planes that are going to be, they can now fly planes into Iraq, into Saudi Arabia, into Oman. And plus, don't forget, they can also fly planes in from other countries that are in the Polynesian islands. And you can hit them from both ways. The U.S. is preparing for something absolutely major. And I'm going to tell you, they're not counting on Russia and China getting involved. Because if you touch Iran's oil supply, okay, you affect China and you affect Russia. Okay, Iran is a huge supply and outsourcing, exporting, of fuel and whether it be natural gas, primarily oil. Okay, so remember that.
Hey, remember, Cap, they still got those those ships that are in the Mediterranean right now. They've been there for a few years now. The ones that's off the coast of Cyprus.
I remember that.
The ones off the coast of Cyprus, they still there. They still there, and they still have that general vicinity to hit Russia, because Russia had people in the Black Sea. Remember they had that big argument about them performing drills in the Black Sea. So they're ready. They're ready. That place over there is ripe for war.
Hey, get number 4. I'm going to show you. This is also, it's amazing how you've got, just this last week, they killed hundreds of Palestinians and bombed even areas that the small number of buildings that they do have, they keep bombing them, right? And you never hear a story about an individual Palestinian that makes them the mainstream. Here we have a British citizen. When I say citizens, we're talking about Caucasians. They did something illegal in Iran, and they got 10 years in prison. And watch and this is all over British news. I'm just showing you that if you are Edomite, you have value. You have a voice in this society. Meaning the free world, which is controlled by Babylon the Great and the EU. This is what the earth's control. Watch this video. Watch this.
Very much for that. Lindsay and Craig Foreman just sentenced to 10 years in Iran. We've heard that the Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, is going to try and do something. Yeah. What can we actually do?
Well, this is why it's so important to have diplomacy. And first and foremost, I want to reach out to the families of them and ensure that they have got support. I know that the Foreign Secretary will be reaching out to her counterpart in Iran to have these conversations about this case. It is breaking news, but it just goes to echo how important at the moment diplomacy is.
You do realize, y'all, they did something to get them 10 years in jail, right? Already they're portraying it in the media as if they're victims, that they've been wronged. How dare they lock them? If they had been black people, they would have said the crime first. What they did, they would have showed a picture of them when they was 12 years old at the worst time in their life when they did something crazy, one mistake they made. Lindsay and Craig Foreman, now go back. It says she's part of the victim unit. Rewind it. It says it.
Watch what it says. Sentenced to 10 years in Iran. We've heard that the Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, is going to try and do something. Yeah. What can we actually do?
Well, this is why it's so important to have diplomacy. And first and foremost, I want to reach out to the families of...
Minister for Victims. What do you mean victims? They obviously committed a crime that got them 10 years in jail in Iran. You can't make this up. To your point, Officer Yasso, in the beginning of the show, why are millions of dollars of taxpayers' money being spent to find one old, past senior citizen when you have 190,000 black kids or more that are, no one's talking about them. It's the same thing internationally. You have 2 British citizens that broke Iranian law that are going to do jail time. Now they're victims, but the Palestinians who are bombed, living in tents, getting blown apart, chemical warfare, all of that, we don't hear any of their individual stories.
This is why J.D. Vance is talking about a no-rule-based society so that they can do whatever they want in whatever country or land that they are in. This is what's going on. Whatever they were doing over there, the Iranians ain't having it. You're not coming over here. There was people from over here, some people who were internet, I forget what you call them, people who went over there and were doing homosexuality, and they got locked up. They don't play that. And that's their rules. They should be able to do what they want in their land.
I'm going to tell you something, and here's the point of just putting this up is that when you are a part of their kingdom, they will do everything and twist laws to get you out. And it just goes to show you that this is why, get me in Isaiah 14, it says, even the fir trees will rejoice. Everything on the earth is out of course. The justice system, the climate, everything that this man touches turns to destruction. And God says in that day, it says even the fir trees, why? Because they're not going to be cut down. They don't even allow regenerative lumber. They got to fight their own system to try to plant trees. 14, you find it, Solomon. Look, even the fir tree shall rejoice. Isaiah 14. Start at Start at 1 and then, start at 3 and jump to 8. Listen good.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow.
Because this man caused nothing but sorrow for the 12 tribes of Israel, also for the Arab nations. He's caused nothing but and the East Indians as well. Read on.
And from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve.
Right, the Israelites, we serve hard bondage, and all these nations had us in bondage. But this particular man he's going to go into. Read on.
Verse 8. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying.
We go to 7. They're rejoicing over who? Read it, go to 7.
Verse 7. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee.
It said the whole earth. Read it again.
The whole earth.
That means everything and everybody in the earth is now, when you rejoice, that means you're full of joy. Even the animals, the plants, everything is going to rejoice. This man right here, this shows you the level. This is why the Bible is so easy to understand. Donald Trump and them are having peace talks, and you got to pay $1 billion to be a part of it. On that panel, there are no people that represent, and now listen, we understand what the Arabs did to the 12 tribes of Israel. They're going to pay. They're the second nation listed in Psalms 83. They're the second ones listed. First is Esau, Ishmael. We know that. But we know that everybody is going to be happy when this man goes down. Read on. Read on.
The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down.
That's talking about Esau. Since thou art laid down. Read.
No feller has come up against us.
What does that mean? Because they take like Obadiah says, you don't have to cut down all those trees. You don't have to rip all those mines. You don't have to, because it's an endless pursuit of individual wealth. That's what capitalism is. The endless pursuit of individual wealth. Me. I got to have this. Mine. It's got to be mine. Look, socialism has never worked historically. We understand that. But the Bible talks about a form of community living, like when you read Acts 2 and Acts 4. And we're not going to have that until Christ's return, that level of gathering together. But in the meantime, this man, this is what you see here. You see what's going on right here, and that's that man. Read on.
Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee.
Yep.
And the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us.
Right on.
Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming.
To meet thee at thy coming. And that's the point. This man is coming. And here's the thing. The Lord is the only one that's going to stop him. Right? And listen, it's ironic because he's going to send us. Give me Isaiah 31, verse 5. He's going to send his Air Force and his whatever 18s are now, with his elite bombers. When Christ returned, there's nothing they can do. Isaiah 31, verse 5.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 31 and verse 5. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem.
Right, Jerusalem. Does that mean he's coming back he's just going to defend the city of modern-day Jerusalem? No, it's talking about the Israelites. Read on.
Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it.
He going to meet them and destroy them, and he's going to preserve the 12 tribes of it that repent. Give me Ezekiel 9, verse 4. And it's not going to be every Israelite that he's going to be there to preserve. It's the ones that do this. Ezekiel 9, it's either 5 or 6. It says, it's they that sigh for the abominations.
Yeah, 4.
Read it.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 9 and verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem.
See, that's what it's talking about. The midst of Jerusalem. Ezekiel was not just in Jerusalem. He's talking about go through the midst of the people. Jerusalem represents Israel. Read on.
And set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry, and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
So those who acknowledge that what's going on and crying out against the sin and cry, those, the prophets, the 144 and the elect, the ones that we are crying out, that's who he's coming. Go back to Isaiah 31 verse 5. That's who he's coming back for. Because Zechariah said 2/3, 2 parts shall be cut off and die. Understand that. We almost done, y'all. We're about to go to law back attack.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 31 and verse 5. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem.
That's Christ returning, the Messiah. Christ is coming. Read.
Defending also.
He going to defend because they're going to try to attack. Read.
He will deliver it.
And deliver meaning, that's why in Wisdom of Solomon it says, "If thee that desire thrones." Give me that in Wisdom of Solomon. I love that scripture. Because this is the problem with black Christians. Black Christians, they want to talk about kumbaya and deliverance, but part of deliverance is this Isaiah 31 verse 5. This is going into that you delight in thrones and scepters, something like that.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 21.
Thank you.
If your delight be then in thrones and scepters.
Because that's what our delight is. We know I'm a servant. We are a servant. We can't afford new cars. We can't live in the neighborhoods we want to live in. We don't have any power. Our faces are on the money. We don't control anything. But in that day, read it again.
If your delight be then in thrones and scepters.
We want rulership, and a scepter is a position of power. Kings and princes make moves with scepters. That's a king's part of a king's apparel. Read on.
O ye kings of the people.
That's what it's talking about. Read on.
Honor wisdom.
Honor wisdom.
That ye may reign forevermore.
That ye may reign. There's one that says the deliverance of and the destruction of your enemies. That's the one I really wanted, but we might not have time. Is it 14? I can't remember. 18 and 17. Yes, give me that. 18. Start at 18 verse 1.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 1. Nevertheless, thy saints had a very great light, whose voice they hearing and not seeing their shape, because they also had not suffered the same things, they counted them happy.
Right. Read it again to verse 1.
Verse 1. Nevertheless, thy saints
had who?
Thy saints.
Jump the next verse.
Verse 8.
Is there a delay or something? Come on.
Verse 7. So thy people was accepted both the
saints are the Israelites. Thy people, that's the Israelites. That's what Ezekiel was talking about. They that sigh and cry for the abominations. That's who Christ is coming back to deliver. Read on.
So of thy people was accepted both the salvation.
Both the salvation. Not everybody going to be saved from Israel. Read on.
The salvation of the righteous and the destruction of the enemies.
The righteous Israelites who are the saints, and the destruction of who? The wicked. That's what this whole Bible is about. This is what we gotta endure to the end. So when you see this military buildup, don't get surprised. Last one, McGregor timestamp, then we're gonna go live back attack. This is Colonel Douglas McGregor, U.S. Army full bird colonel and former advisor to President Trump on the first, I don't know if y'all knew that. Former advisor. It's timestamped perfectly. We're almost done.
Colonel, can you paint a picture for us of the military assets that the United States has assembled?
Well, without giving too much away, Matt Hope produced an X today where he talked about E-3 aircraft. But let's look at it from the standpoint of categories. There are now hundreds of aircraft in the region. Hundreds. This is the largest concentration of American military power in the Middle East since 2003.
Pause. Cap, if you're going to say so, but 22 and a half years ago or so, that was the buildup of the second Iraq war, okay? The first one we saw on TV. The first televised war was saw on TV, live, in your living room, okay? This right here, and like Officer Micah mentioned when he went into all the logistics and the the terminologies he used. Remember this, you cannot have a buildup that big. And this has been planned for years. Think about this. You cannot, they have been practicing this, all these war games, these Persian Gulf dry runs. This has been going on for years. He said there are hundreds and hundreds of high-tech aircraft that are there right now. This has been going on since the 1800s. All the bases they position there is for this day. All the ones at Qatar, all the ones we saw when they took over Kuwait, this is for this day.
Dick Cheney said, now that's how far they were setting up. Dick Cheney said, we're going to take Iran. They've been setting up for it ever since then. That's why Iran has had a chance, because he run his mouth to kind of set up, but they put the hammer on him.
Hey, there's a video of Netanyahu in the 90s, looked much younger, and he was petitioning to Congress all the countries that pose an existential threat. We brought it on the show before. We probably don't have it. I think Captain Matt brought it out. He had literally been talking about this for decades in front of the Congress and Senate. Decades. If you can pull that up. In the meantime, play on. This McGregor, he's going to tell you something.
You've got large numbers of command and control aircraft, as Matt Ho had pointed out. You've got enormous numbers of refueling assets, not just in the air. You also have refueling assets at sea. And then you have enormous...
Let's look at the map. Let's look at the map. Captain Matthew just brought that out about 20 minutes ago. The USS Buckley and the USS Roosevelt, they're in the Mediterranean Sea. Guess what they can do? They could actually, I don't know, they might have long-range missiles that can reach Iran from there, but they can also go through the Sinai Peninsula and the Suez Canal. They can track down the Red Sea, and they could cross through Yemen and meet them there. Because that's why they built the Suez Canal, so they could connect those waterways. Look at all the power they got there. Not to mention all the military bases we showed you in Qatar, where else it was, all the different places we showed you. Look at what's going on, y'all. Okay. Oh, they got one in the Red Sea right now, the USS Delbert D. Black. That's already there. They're not playing. There's God setting them up. Play on.
Of platforms that can launch missiles. Now, one of the things that we don't know too much about, but I suspect we've done everything we possibly can, are precisely how many Patriot batteries and Patriot missiles and THAAD missiles and radars are also in the region beyond what are normally there. But if you look at the map that you just put up on the board, it's not difficult to figure out that, the naval presence is now enormous, and you're very shortly going to see the Ford Carrier Battle Group show up. It should be on station by Sunday, and I suspect they'll be present, if not solely, certainly for the most part, to help defend Israel from incoming missiles and rockets. They steamed through the Straits of Gibraltar more than 24 hours ago, so they'll be there Sunday. So I guess you could say that everything is probably going to be in place within the next 96 hours at the outside. But as you and I were talking before it came on, one of the considerations that I don't think anybody's addressed is the State of the Union message on Tuesday night. And the real question is...
This is important. This is all political. I want you to pull up Donald Trump's State of the Union address, February 2026. Watch this. I'm telling you, Esau is a tactician. Remember, the State of the Union address is the first year of a president's progress of his term. And he talks about, he addresses the union, right? The union is the union of the American citizens. This is what we've accomplished. This is his popularity. This is for him to reinvigorate his voting base, reinvigorate all the promises, and make everybody feel good, right? So watch when is this speech taking place? It should be pretty easy to find. Okay, play on. We'll come back to that.
If you're president of the United States, yes, you've assembled the great, big, beautiful, whatever you want to call it, with hundreds of aircraft of all types and kinds, firing all sorts of weapons. Do you really want to unleash this war before the State of the Union? You don't know what kind of a reception you might get. And would you not want to wait until that was over? So if I were to guess at this point, because I think President Trump is a more politically savvy individual, certainly domestically, than people give him credit for being, I rather suspect he'll wait until that State of the Union message is behind him.
Are you able to conclude from whatever observations you make of public information, like what we just saw on the map, or private communications that you have without revealing the sources, that the President of the United States has already decided to attack Iran?
Yes, and I've said that for several days now, that I think the decision to attack has been made. This is back to your question about negotiations. There is no expectation that we can get any agreement out of the Iranians that will remotely approximate what Prime Minister Netanyahu is demanding. And
Pause.
this is for
Cap, bring it out. There's a video I think Cap has of showing earlier Netanyahu. All of this is Jeremiah. Get Jeremiah 50, the least of the flock. Yep. This is biblical. This is biblical. Okay, how could a country of such a small number of people that were implanted there in 1948, which was set up in 1917 by the British in an act called the Balfour Declaration? They are modern implanted. How could these people draw the mightiest force that ever existed militarily out to do their bidding? This is why you know it's prophetic. Jeremiah, I don't know, it's Jeremiah 50 or 51. Put the least of the flock.
You got 49 and 20.
There's another one.
There's two of them. Yes,
Let's do 49 and 20. We could do that. Listen good, y'all.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, that he taketh against Edom.
Against who?
Against Edom.
So that proves that the next people that are the least of the flock and the greatest of the flock, that proves that they're Edom. Read on.
And his purposes, that he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman.
Teman, that's a city of Esau. Guess what that means? God has always counseled to destroy them. That's what it's talking about. Read on.
Surely the least of the flock.
So the flock is talking about, that's nations. The flock, the least of the flock, is the smallest. The most powerful of the flock of Edom is the United States of a.k.a. Babylon the Great. How is the smallest or the least of the flock of Esau going to bring the biggest of the flock to do its bidding? Read on.
Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out.
And shall draw them out. Why? Because God put it in Netanyahu's spirit to have the Mossad, to have all these CIA type of agencies centrally to do what? To infiltrate with the lobby, how they, the Israeli lobby, how they, everyone's on their payroll. All of that God set up in their mind to create and fulfill this prophecy. Read on.
Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them.
Right, because guess what? They're going to be destroyed. So is in Babylon the Great going to be destroyed. Okay, read on. That's why they built. That's why they built the doggone the Iron Dome. So now, without further ado, Cap, this is a much younger, right? This is him,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
So watch what he says about the whole region, right, Cap? Bring it out.
Netanyahu, and the things that he's going to name and talk about are the different wars over the past few decades that the U.S. has been involved in. Play that.
Take away the Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO. International terrorism would collapse.
Stop. So he's talked about the Soviet Union and Palestine. The next, that was a war that we was in, the Cold War. The next one is Iraq. Go ahead.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Third nation, by the way, is Libya.
Next,
obviously,
we know Libya had, what's my man?
Gaddafi.
So he said the Soviet Union. Then he said Iraq and Saddam went to war. Then he said Gaddafi in Libya murdered him. Go ahead.
The regime change, at least I would. And Iran
exporting terrorism not only
now, he talked about Venezuela and what just happened. They kidnapped the president and invaded the whole country. Go ahead.
Every part of the Middle East, but to Venezuela.
By the way, what are we doing with Greenland?
And didn't you hear
gotta
Trump
do something
talking about
with
he
Greenland.
wanted to take over Greenland? He wasn't doing it on his own accord. He was doing it because of Prime Minister Netanyahu said so.
Hey, that's a fact, and it's scriptural. If you think about what other nations could fulfill that prophecy, and it shows that the least of the flock, the Israelis, by that scripture, that they are the Idumeans, they are the Edomites. Now, let's finish up McGregor, then we're going to go to break because the show is almost over. We should be right back, right? We finished the timestamp? Okay. All right, finish it up.
The United States has already decided to attack Iran.
Yes, and I've said that for several days now, that I think the decision to attack has been made. It doesn't, this is back to your question about negotiations. There is no expectation that we can get any agreement out of the Iranians that will remotely approximate what Prime Minister Netanyahu
Hey,
is
that's
demanding.
funny because Cap, yeah, that's play on words. He telling you
I
something.
caught it. I caught it when he said it. Yeah.
And this is very important for Americans to understand. You know, Iran is, contrary to popular belief, not our arch enemy. It is not the biggest terrorist state in the world. That's a lot of nonsense. We are not going to war because Iran presents some sort of existential threat to us. We are going to war because this is what the Israeli state and its agents and advocates in the United States want us to do. So if you want to understand the deadlock, you have to look carefully at what Mr. Netanyahu is demanding. And those demands are not negotiable.
You got to understand that. Not negotiable. This is why we understand it. We're not shocked. Don't put your trust in politics. Don't put your trust in men. Don't put your trust in military might. Put your trust in the Most High God. And look, we got to battle the flesh the whole time we do it. So look, we're going to get ready to go to Larback attack. We're getting ready to send and land this plane. Shalom. Stick around.
You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah. You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah. You can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win.
All right, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless. It's been a minute for Larback attack, and the goal has always been for this portion of the show to do away with this. And so the message is y'all got to get to the green because we are building a nation. I want a couple of scriptures, and I'm going to pull up a basic understanding of body recompositioning. That's what we have to focus on. Now, you don't have to do this, but it's highly recommended that you do this. Read Sirach, probably a lot of you don't follow this. Sirach 30, verse 25. No, 15, then jump to 25.
The book of Sirach, chapter 31 and verse 15. Health and good estate of body are above all gold.
Health and a good estate of body are above all gold. Now, gold right now is over $5,000 an ounce. Go look at it. First time in history. God's saying that your health and good estate of body are above all gold. Read on.
And a strong body.
So notice he says a strong body. You do not get a strong body unless you have good health. Okay, in the first parts of the scripture. Read on.
And a strong body above infinite wealth.
If you take all the sheiks and the sultans and the Bill Gates and the Bilderbergs and the Rothschilds, take all their trillions of dollars, buy gold toilets, gold seated front steps of your house, you cannot touch what God says about your health. And we don't believe that. And the reason why is because it's been over a year and a half, and a lot of you men, you're not taking it seriously. And what I realize is the yelling, the fat shaming, the ridiculing, although it does have its place, you men have to realize enough is enough. Now, read verse 30, verse 25.
Verse 25. A cheerful and good heart.
A cheerful and a good heart, meaning a mind of God. Read on.
Will have a care of his meat and diet.
I'm going to pose a question. If Christ said in Matthew 22, he said the first and great commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all the heart, soul, and the mind. And the second is to love thy neighbor as thyself. If you don't take care of your own health and your good estate of body, how could you help somebody else with theirs? You can't love your neighbor when it comes to that because you are in a sickened state yourself. We have to fix it as a nation. So the yelling, the fat shaming, all of this, all that is coming to an end. It's you don't want to get with the program, there's going to be a consequence. There's an old saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. What that means is all the yelling was meant to be brotherly. But now we realize over a year and a half, and some of you men, really going to be a year and 8 months soon, you just don't want to change. And give me that. You can't force the course of the river. I don't know where it's at. It's in Sirach somewhere. What that means is you can't force. In other words, a lot of times we as brothers, we want the best for the men and the sisters too. But you cannot force somebody against their will to do what's right for them. Remember the expression in the world, everybody heard, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And that's what I'm realizing about a lot of you men. And I really feel sorry for you brothers, man. Because you don't see the value, and you don't even see the value in God's scripture. He said, health and a good estate of body are above gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. You don't see the wisdom in that. And I feel sorry for y'all. And I hope that, and I pray that the Lord puts it on your spirit because you are not able to do what you're supposed to do. And that's taking care of your health. Read that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 26.
Okay.
Be not ashamed to confess thy sins.
Right. So a lot of you brothers you're gluttonous. You are. And that's wrong. Okay? You gotta first start saying, look, I am obese. I am this, and I made mistakes. Read on.
And force not the course of the river.
So the river is going to go where it wants to go. A man's mind is going to go where it's going to go. You can set things up and you can plan, but at the end of the day, and this is our hope and prayer, right? Number one, my hope is that I can do away with the Lard-back attack and that every brother in IUIC and every sister gets to the green. That's just a funny term. Hey, green, right? Based upon a stop, like green means go. That's the goal. We can't force anybody to change. You got to willingly believe in these scriptures and say, you know what? I do have a good heart, and I have a care for my meat and diet. And then when I fix myself, I'm going to love my neighbor as myself. I'm going to help other brothers who go through that. So there's going to be a new Captain Shem. And this new Captain Shem ain't going to be screaming no more. It's just going to be talking reasoning. And if you can't see the value in changing your health, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, but what I will say is, God could show you through an ICU, which is an intensive care unit, when you're hooked up to tubes and you had your stroke, you had a coronary bypass because you just did not stop doing what you're supposed to. Your blood pressure, your systolic was 180 over 135. You could have fixed it 2 years ago. Last year, you didn't. You're going to find out then that your health was important. So now, get body recomposition. We're going to close it out. So I'm going to read it, Salma. Thank you. So body recomposition is the process of simultaneously reducing body fat while building or maintaining muscle mass. So like Bishop told us, Bishop got on me, all praises for that. We can't just starve ourselves. We have to work out and do the things to gain the muscle. Because here's the thing. If I, on this table right now, if I had 5 pounds of fat or 10 pounds of fat and 10 pounds of muscle, do you know that the fat would look substantially larger in volume? Muscle is much more dense, okay? Muscle would look much smaller. So when you body recomposition, you could look smaller, but actually have more body weight if it's more muscle. This is the importance of body recompositioning. Okay, watch this. There's a couple of freaking, excuse my language, how to prioritize protein. So now, this is important. I think 1.5 grams is, look it on your own. 1 gram is more than enough. Unless you're an elite, super giant bodybuilder, maybe 1.5. But for the average 99% of us, prioritize 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight to support. So if you weigh 300 pounds and you're trying to get down to 200 pounds, eat 200 grams of protein. Understand, if your brother that's 180 and you're short, you're trying to get to, say, I don't know, 150, eat 150 grams of protein. You got to eat high protein. Go back to the screen. You can leave it off, but don't put it on me. Strength training. Focus on compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, military presses, okay, lunges, pull-ups, rows. These are really good at involving multiple groups of muscles. Strength training. And these two next things are, sleep is absolutely incredible. You got to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. You got to do that. A lot of you can't do that. Do the best you can. Calorie management is, strength training, calorie management is so important. No, I don't agree with maintenance. You need to, there we go. Eat at a slight depth, 500 calories below maintenance, and allow for fat loss without sacrifice. So if you eat watch this, you eat a 500 calorie deficit. Now, one part they're not saying is cardio. Cardio burns calories. So if you are in a 500 calorie deficit per day, you're getting sleep and you're strength training and eating 1 gram of protein per goal body weight, and you're doing, say, like you're walking 10,000, 20,000 steps a day, that just burns more calories. Here's the formula. 1 pound of body fat is 3,500 calories. So if you burn 3,500 calories in a week total, you will lose 1 pound of body fat. How do you obtain that? Let's multiply. 500 calorie deficit multiplied by 7 is what? 7 times 5 is 3,500. That's 1 pound of body fat. If you burn 500, except the Sabbath, say you burn, say 6 days a week, you burn 600 calories of cardio. That could be walking 12,000 steps, running 5, whatever it is. That's another 3,600 calories from cardio. Compile them together, it's over 7,000 calories total deficit for the week. That's 2 pounds of body fat per week. Multiply that by 52. Anybody just following basic can lose 104 pounds on average per year. That's a walk in the park. And that's still maintaining and gaining slight muscle, all while you do it. And it's actually fascinating because as you can actually burn more fat and gain muscle. So the scale might, for example, say you weigh 250 pounds, you need to get to 200 pounds. You might gain 20 pounds of muscle and lose 50 pounds of fat. And then you settle at 220, but your recomposition. Y'all, listen, AI is so accurate. You know what to do now. You got no excuses. All the fat shame and all that, I might tell a fat joke any once in a while, but I'm not, it's beyond that. We're beyond all that, man. We're supposed to be mature men who care about our nation. Got to get to the green. So listen, you're going to see a new Captain Shem. And I realize that it takes men of God to make you grow. All praise to the Most High for the mighty men of God that are around us, that foster and develop our growth and make us mature as men. It's all praise the Lord. So with that, Israel, get to the green. Most High in Christ bless you.
Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I die for the truth, it's a win-win. And going to the end, going all in. Going all in. Yeah, you can tell by my gait that I'm all in. You can tell by my faith that I'm all in. Front line with the truth, I'ma fall in. Even if it's a dead end, going all in. You can tell by the things I'm involved in. I can lose it all for my calling. If I
Hey, shalom, shalom. Thanks for sticking around, y'all. We know it's late in the East Coast. We appreciate it. We went about 15 minutes over tonight. We thank you for your time. We hope you enjoyed the content. Please, I want you in the comments to lead us some constructive criticism. I know we did a little bit better job with the mics tonight, all of us, and the sound equipment seems to be better. We appreciate y'all. If you got any ideas, hey, let us know what's going on. So look, we got to get out of here with your host. I'm Captain Shem, y'all.
Captain Matt.
Officer Micah.
Officer Yas.
And with that, brothers and sisters, we say shalom.
Shalom.
This is what you need. Can't never forget. Yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees. I never forget. Nooses on our neck, whipped us till we bleed. And they gotta get it. Hey man, call it Galatians 3:13.
You're now tuned in to Precept upon Precept.
Crew so strange. Look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains. So when the wind blow, we just swing. Much oppression, never kill us. Breaking dreams, that is bitter.